So about 4 weeks ago, I received a news flash that something called hair banking or hair follicle preservation is available. They said it was a massive breakthrough and a first step to anybody who's interested in having hair cloning in the future. But naturally, I took notice and I put together this video just to basically answer the question is, what the heck is this hair preservation, hair follicle preservation, and should you do it? Should you have it done yourself? Here's what's coming up. Make sure you watch all the way to the end because the cost of this is something I couldn't find anywhere. It's not in the press release, they haven't said it on their website, but I think I can make an educated guess about roughly how much this might cost. So make sure you watch the whole video. So some of you might be saying, so who cares? What's this hair follicle preservation thing, or hair banking as they call it? It's basically a way to preserve your hair. Hair, like any part of the body, gets worse with age. So your hair at 20 is not it's much better than your hair at 30, at 40, at 50, and so on. So if you can preserve your hair now, given the fact that we're getting really close to hair cloning where we can multiply hair, theoretically, when hair cloning, when they really nail the technique and it becomes available, no matter what age you are, you can just go back to the hair bank and get your preserved hair and have limitless supply of hair. So you can have as many hair transplants as you want. You don't have to worry about donor hair. You just have limitless access to your own hair, and not only your own hair at a really biologically good level, which you preserved at a younger age. This sounds fantastic. I'm sure you're thinking the same thing. But now let's have a look at how this actually works. It's called, the official name for it is hair clone follicle preservation. For simplicity, we're going to call it hair banking. And this has already been done in 2020, but they've announced it this year, and it was first done in Northern California by Dr. Sarah Wasserbauer. I hope I'm saying that right. So this is the article. This is not the original article, but this is an article that was announcing this breakthrough. And this is the doctor herself. I've actually reached out to them, said, do you want to collaborate on this? I was going to ask them some questions about, the cost and all that stuff, but they haven't got back to me, unfortunately, yet. So if they get back to me, I will ask them some questions and post it in the links under the video. And she's a hair restoration surgeon in Northern California herself. So she actually works on, she does hair transplants, not just this. But it seems that this is some research she does on the side. And they announced this as a big breakthrough. I mean, we've had several big breakthroughs, but I think genuinely this is a big breakthrough. Hair banking, I've never heard of hair banking before. So this genuinely seems like a big breakthrough for them. Excellent. Now let's have a look at the method itself, because that gives you more details about how this works on the day of the procedure itself. So the first day where you actually go to have this done, this is how things might work. The follicles are cryogenically frozen, so this basically means freezing at extremely low temperatures from minus 150 centigrade to minus 273. These are kind of unbelievably cold temperatures, and this basically stops all the aging process. It really just shuts down all the chemical activity. The tissue just goes from living to kind of just completely frozen, of course. And it's quite interesting that the freezing, even if you have it in the US, the actual hair follicles are stored in the UK. That's because the UK have a license for tissue banking. The US haven't, even though the FDA in the US are currently working on licensing this so that people can have the stuff stored in the US. But I don't think this is a big problem. The UK and the US, they're kind of both developed countries, so the standards should be pretty much the same. And it's really important that the hair, once you come to actually use your hair maybe in 10, 20, 30 years time, that the hair is thawed properly. You can't just take it out of the freezer, as it were, and just wait for it to thaw. There's actually a particular specific method. You have to thaw it properly when you're required to use the hair. And at that time, we hope that there's some sort of technology to multiply the hair, like hair cloning, and you multiply this hair in the lab. Technically, you should have limitless supply, because you can just go back to your hair and just multiply it as many times as possible. What is really interesting is and this is something I didn't really pick up in the article, once you thaw the hair, can you refreeze it again? That would be really interesting to know, and this is one of the things I was going to ask them, but they never got back to me. So let's talk about the method itself. It's not really that very difficult, and it takes a maximum of 2 hours, so this is a very, very simple procedure. What you do is you numb an area the size of a finger on your scalp. Probably going to be I would speculate that this is going to be the back and the sides of the hair where there's kind of more permanent hair, and you extract a very small number of grafts, just 50. Very, very small. Even somebody who's a Norwood 7 can afford does have 50 grafts somewhere, and you freeze them, or cryogenically freeze them as we said, and then when you need it, you're going to thaw this. And it's really important, something that we missed from the earlier slides. When you thaw the hair, you need to examine them, because we don't really fully understand how the freezing process impacts the quality of the hair and the chemical makeup. So it's very important to examine them and just make sure the hair is healthy and fit to be cloned and multiplied. And then after that, of course, you clone it, you multiply it, and hey presto, you have lots of hair for your scalp that you can use for a transplant. And they think the hair is good for up to 30 years. So if you are 25 years old now and you freeze your hair or you bank your hair, possibly when you're 55 or 60 and there's a breakthrough and hair clearing is available, you can go to the bank and say, hey guys, give me my hair back. I'm about to go and have a procedure. Sounds so easy, just 2 hours. It really sounds good. Now the question about the cost. As I said, I couldn't find this anywhere. I've reached out to them, they still haven't replied to me. It's not on the website. So how much is this going to cost? This is my educated guess, so this is not a fact. It might be different when the true cost actually comes out, but I think given that it's only a 2-hour procedure, it's 50 grafts. If this was a hair transplant, a classic hair transplant like FUE, you wouldn't really pay anything over $1,000. But I'm going to add a little premium on top, purely because of the fact that this is a new procedure. So they're going to charge more at the beginning. So I would say $2,000, between $1,500 and $2,000 seems to be a sensible starting point. But obviously, once the technique becomes deployed after the first couple of years, the cost will come down. But I think the first wave, I would say roughly $1,500 to $2,000. What I don't know, what I can't even have make a guess about, is how much they charge for the storage, because remember, you're going to be storing this for maybe up to 30 years. So are they going to charge you every year? Is it going to be per month? I have no idea. It would be good if the people who do this can get in touch with me. I will leave any information they tell me in the comments below, and I'll publish it on my website as well. Now for the big question, should you do it? I think you should, especially if you are young. Maybe if you are, say, 60 or over, it really doesn't make much sense. If you are in your 20s, 30s, maybe even 40s, then it makes perfect sense, especially if you have history, or if you have a family history of aggressive hair loss. Basically with this is you are preserving some hair, some really healthy hair of yours, so that when hair cloning is here, you are going to be first on that ship. Now a question to you, would you have it done, yes or no? And give us the reason, let me know in the comments below. Take care, see you soon.